Well, it's been not that long since we last checked on Riot's new favorite child. And since that time, it didn't take too long for that child to spin completely out of control. And interestingly enough, depending on whether you know nothing or everything about Riftbound, what I just said totally changes meaning. Because if you know nothing about Riftbound, you would think that Riot made an oopsie. Which, to be fair, in one part they did. But for the most part, they are out of control with the traction they are getting. And on the other side, if you know about Riftbound, you know we'll talk about purple. And coincidentally, purple is not the color of the logo of today's sponsor. Code is in our bones, and our DNA cannot be recoded. At least for now. But you can definitely try with the help of Boot.dev. This video is sponsored by Boot.dev. Have you too tried to acquire a new skill but you lack the attention span because it is 2026? Well, Boot.dev fixes that issue by teaching you coding in the most fun way possible. Instead of sitting through lectures and books, you can delve into dungeons. You can collect loot, get XP and slay mythical creatures. And that is no matter whether your sword is Java, Go or Python. Anything is learnable with enough fun. But that's when you can also consult the great wizard Bear for his endless analytical wisdom. And you can hop into the endless proving grounds that keep generating new problems for you to solve and sharpen your blades. And of course, let's not forget that we are learning backend development here, which is still among the highest paying jobs in the industry. So we're talking about life-changing skills that you too can acquire within the span of 12 months. So don't wait and join the ever-growing community that keeps piling up on the bi-weekly bosses. Click the link in the description and use my promo code Necrit to get 25% off of your first year if you choose the annual plan. May glory and code await us all. Once again, many thanks to Boot.dev for sponsoring this video. So as we previously mentioned, Riftbound has a very solid lineup of events and releases for the rest of the year. And right now, the spoiler season for the Unleashed cards is over, which means we can dive into some really cool cards that were revealed. But more importantly, we can also dive into the new thing that the players will be chasing. And therefore, there is gonna be a really good chance that the Riftbound boxes will be sold out again. I mean, we've all heard the Pokemon horror stories. Speaking of which, a little bit of an update on the supply of Riftbound. Last time we had a look at this, Riftbound was kinda impossible to get. But as Riot promised, they doubled the production, they started printing more cards, and these days, you can occasionally see a pack on display. I know, unbelievable. But that might also be because, as it turns out, the Origin cards kinda have more value than Spirit Forged. So people are mostly still chasing the Origin cards. But speaking of chasing, that's what we're gonna dive into before we mention gameplay. You see, if we have a look at the top chase cards that Riftbound has, what price would you expect? I mean, we are talking about a game that is about half a year old in the West, so maybe we shouldn't be expecting $1 million One Ring or hundreds of thousands for ancient Pokemon from the 2000s. No, instead, among the highest cards, we do have the special version of the Blade of the Ruined King. You can only get this one if you place in the top 8 of a major tournament. And so of course, sure, $5,000 for that one. And keep in mind, Riot is not getting a cent from these. These are the prices that the community kinda set up themselves. And as you'll see, people actually pay these prices. But the thing is, this is the highest priced card that is currently available. Let's not forget that Riot also has the best of medal cards. In case you don't know, at the major tournaments, the highest placing players with every one of the champions will get a special medal card for their champion. Now, because these only enter the circulation once there is a major tournament, currently there is like 3 of each out there in the world. And as a result, these best of medal cards are selling for anything between $15,000 to $50,000, which in many cases is probably better than the prize pool itself. But these cards, as well as the Blade, are kinda an exception. So from the normal cards, all the signed overnumbered cards are roughly above $500, with Kai'Sa being the highest one because she is a meta deck, and also it is Kai'Sa. With Ahri being above the $1,000 because the art is just gorgeous. Ahri isn't even that good, it's just the card is cool. Now, since these overnumbered cards are celebrating quite the success, since otherwise people wouldn't be paying such big money for them, not only is Riftbound gonna keep this going, but they are also trying new things on top of that. But first, because the spoiler season is over, of course, we already saw all the new champions in the new expansion, which means all of these will get their own overnumbered cards. And so we got Jhin revealed. You can tell that Riot had a lot of fun with this one because his kit has a lot of force in it. And there's also the Gutter Palace, where if you have exactly 4 cards and exactly 4 units at a battlefield, you win. Then there is Rengar, which is currently kinda the laughingstock of this set. Sure, there are the ambush cards that will utilize the +1, but outside of that, it doesn't really do much, so Rengar doesn't exactly look that strong. Then there is Spike, who is about getting gold, just like in League. There is Vi, who is about punching with a lot of damage. There is Lilia, that is about summoning her spirity friends. Master Yi is a hilarious 1-to-1 copy of League of Legends. You disappear into the jungle and then come back overpowered. Though people are speculating that the XP mechanic might be a little bit too slow. Next, there is Vex that holds and draws. Not exactly a mechanic from League of Legends. Although Ivern is very League-like. He replaces the battlefields with bushes. Then Diana gives you some energy for combat. LeBlanc summons copies of units no matter how big they are. Kha'Zix is kinda faking evolution. He gets XP and then he spends the XP on special abilities. And lastly, there is Poppy that holds and draws. I guess that is a defensive archetype. And so, as is obvious from the champions you just saw, this set was made for Dumps and Nicky Boy. Now, of course, all of these cards also got the overnumbered versions. And I kinda love how the styles are so different. They are for everyone, from the serious ones to the goofy ones. Also, in Spiritforged, Riot tried to make the overnumbered fit into the color archetypes, and it didn't look that great. So now we are back to the classics. I think my favorite here is Ivern, although Vex is also really good. And again, in case you missed it, some of these pieces of art were made by Riot's own internal artists. For example, the LeBlanc was made by Valentine, who also made the gods for the new TFT set. Anyway, since Riot knows that chasing these overnumbered cards works for sales, that's where you can also notice that Riftbound is slightly leaning. For example, besides the overnumbered cards, people also love collecting the alternative runes. With Spiritforged, the feedback was clear: we want new runes every set. And so, since Unleashed is all about jungle, all the new runes are just bunch of jungle references. And speaking of jungle, which is such a strong theme here, that's where the new thing is. In the last video on Riftbound, we talked about some of the jungling monsters that make an appearance here. From the buffs to Elder Dragon, which once again brought the prices of Aurora even higher, to Rift Herald, to even the Baron himself. Of course, it is cool to see Baron in Riftbound because Riftbound is trying to follow the canonical Runeterra. To this day, we still don't know what Baron is, so at least it exists. And it turns out there is a really good reason for Baron to be so powerful. You see, the day Baron was revealed, the prices of Auroras, which is a card that brings up large creatures, rose by about $20. Funnily enough, I bought my Auroras the week before. And the prices went up because Baron is a massive unit, it introduces a new battlefield onto the board, it can't be chosen with spells and abilities, and it even buffs other units. So unless you're facing Victor, you're gonna be chilling for a while if you pull this one early. And so soon after that reveal, Riot also revealed that even though Baron is not a legend or a champion, it will also get its own alternative version. And more to that, because we are talking about such an iconic unit. Baron will get the first ever Ultimate Rarity card. Ooh, this gives me flashbacks of Ultimate skins in League of Legends. That's right, for the first time we are getting an equivalent of an overnumbered card of a champion. And Riot even gave us a small post that talked about this. Unleashed introduces the Ultimate Rarity to Riftbound. A rarity for individually exciting, very hard to find cards. And Riftbound's first Ultimate Rare is a unique overnumbered card for the new Baron Nashor. This is the only Ultimate Rare in Unleashed, and Ultimate Rares will not appear in every Riftbound set going forward. We are saving it for those truly special cards. I mean, I'll be honest, that art does look great. But of course, some people were not exactly happy with these news. That's not because of the possible pricing. Again, Riot doesn't make anything out of this. This purely exists for the community to have something to chase. In other words, this is a pretty good way for the whales to fund Riftbound. But more than that, people got mad because Baron is purple. And so, let's quickly talk about the current state of purple. You see, just like it is for something like magic, Riftbound has its own archetype for every color. Red is about casting smaller spells very often. Green is about sitting back and being defensive. Blue is about casting very big spells with a lot of damage. Orange is about buffing units and challenging opponents. Yellow is about managing tokens. And purple is about everything. For some reason, purple just has everything in their toolkit. Originally, they were supposed to be about movement and trickery. And so we got tricked into them being able to do everything. And so they got a lot of card draw, they got card selection, which means very oftentimes they have the answer to their problems. They have removal, they can bounce back your cards. They even have a counterspell. That was supposed to be a green thing. And so every time purple gets a new tool, people get kinda mad. And so now you know why purple gets so much hate. Also, that is the reason why every single major tournament is won by some kind of a purple champion. Not to mention, purple is now in every top 8 ever. Quick update, you wouldn't believe it. Before I release this video, we got our first bans for Riftbound cards. And oh boy, people have not celebrated anything else like this. It's just a big old nerf to purple and Draven, as was expected. But we are still not done just yet. Before we go, we can quickly mention that for all the Riftbound fans to attend skirmishes, such as myself, in the first half of Unleashed, there will be a special promo card, which is gonna be Yuumi. For getting top 8, you will be able to get Rengar. And in the second half, the promo card is gonna be Zillion, and you'll be able to get Lilia for being good. I am not, so ignore me. But then, the best news of all arrived. Riftbound managed to solve the biggest problem that everyone had with this game. Because when you are new to this hobby, what the hell do you do with all the cards you get? And so, here's Vault. A new product where you get 5 packs of cards inside a box that is designed to hold the cards. My god, storing cards was already a headache. But now, every time you bought more packs, where were you gonna shove them? Behold the solution to the most mundane problem. I am so happy right now.